Well, it's time for the second installment on the Black Horse Model Company A6M Zero giant scale RC aircraft project that I started here a little while back. Got some work done on the ailerons and flaps, ran into a few kinks, found some things out about how the kit goes together that I thought I might share with you guys, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, time to get started on the A6M Zero. Engineering part of this is always fun, trying to figure out how to do some of the stuff that is extra outside of the Academy of Model Aeronautics National Model Aircraft Safety Code. This is an engine, in case you don't really know that. Fuselage. Okay, so basically all the parts we've kind of been through. This is nice, that helps you identify what it is they're telling you to use. Okay, so it looks like we start with wings. Installing the ailerons and flaps. Install rubber grommets and brass eyelets into the aileron servos. Okay, that's going to be something I'm going to have to look into here and find out if I've got all the servos I want to use for this. Install rubber grommets using a modeling knife. Remove the covering from over the pre-cut servo arm exit holes. Okay, so let's get a wing. See if we can identify what they're talking about. Flap servo and aileron servos. To me, like these are just taped in here. Well, that's interesting. Wiring for the servo through. Using a modeling knife, remove the cover from over the pre-cut servo arm exit hole on the aileron servo tray. Some nice detail here. Flap, 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 aileron servo. Okay. Let's see what the pictures show. 2 arms, flat washers, blah, blah, cap screws, servos. And it's showing, okay, so the arm is going down in this way, and the rod comes through like that. And voila, you got what you need. Now, that wire is no way going to reach there, so I'll figure out how we're going to do that. What I usually do is go in and solder on longer leads on my servos for this. Some servos that I had wired together into a Y for that giant ugly stick, and I've basically just taken the wire off of them, which I can just feed through here, but then I have to terminate the wire. So what I think I'm going to do is see if I can get some pre-terminated servo leads that are long enough for those two, and see what I can do with the flaps. The flaps are close enough to where we can get those in place. So according to the instructions, you got a Futaba 3010 here. This guy would just come right on through the wing. There's string in there, but I'm gonna need it. Probably just reach it from here. flat servo lining up on one side of the mount area. And then I guess it really depends on where you line up with that. This guy's right here. Here. So, yeah, it doesn't actually exit the wing, it just comes straight through. So I need to find that hardware. It looks like ideally you would mount this guy all the way up against this side. Right in there. Easy enough to do. First little problem I ran into with this project, which wasn't a real bad one, was the distance from the aileron servo here out to the standard length aileron cable, or servo cables. Just not going to get there, and I don't really want to have an extension plugged in. I mean, you can shrink wrap them, but you get insertion loss and things like that. And, you know, more susceptible to RF interference and what have you. So I had to order some servo extensions that I can cut off and solder onto the servo, so that's going to delay me a little bit. The other thing that I ran into was, certainly some of this is my fault, but the kit calls for a 4mm bolt to bolt these guys in that's 20 millimeters long. I went through, it really got nice packaging and stuff on all this stuff, you know. It's associated with gear mounting, which including the axles, which go in here, and mounting bolts and other associated hardware to mount the, I actually like the way the gear door goes on these guys. There's a set screw that goes in here, and all the necessary bolts for that. And they did a great job of packaging all these bolts by the application and documenting what that's supposed to be. So, you know, I was able to figure out where we are down here in the gear mounting stuff, the wheel wells, the wheels, the gear. Anyway, long story short is my experience with retractable landing gear projects. I don't like to use metal bolts like this to mount my gear hardware to, no matter how strong this is in here, inevitably you're going to have a hard landing, crosswinds or what have you, not fly on a grass strip. So you end up ripping this stuff out of here, and then that's when things start going downhill really fast. So I learned back in my pattern competition days with retractable landing gear and stuff, that I use nylon. I use nylon bolts to bolt my gear in, and sometimes I don't even use all 4 of them. So I use a pretty simple concept of quick tear mounting, so it doesn't rip all the structure of the aircraft all apart. If you land hard, I would rather replace a nylon bolt in here easily and just go right back at it than having to figure out what I'm gonna deal with this covering if I had to get back in here and repair this stuff. So clearly one of the problems here is they tell you to go ahead and glue this wheel well liner in. That's like one of the next things to do. That's before you even get to putting the retract in place. Well, here you are. You got this nice retract, and it's got this big old long pigtail on it, which needs to come out of the wing here to get connected to the radio system. I'm gonna fix the problem. Nice tight fit, look at that. Worm gear, cinches down, nice. Look at that, quite nice. I've got the video of most of what I did here. You know, I'm also learning, guys. I apologize on the whole YouTube thing. I've developed a pretty decent way to get some decent shots and video of from inside a real airplane, and still nowhere near like some of the great guys out there like Matt Guthmiller and some of these guys that just do. I mean, they're incredible pilots, and their you know, video production and creation skills are just off the charts. I do this for fun, and I'd like to get better at it, but I'm nowhere near, you know, great at it. But this stuff, it's a whole new process for me. So I had to figure out what kind of cameras to use and how to capture everything. So I didn't get all the stuff, but I did get the flat hinged, epoxied in. I'm not a big fan of these pin hinges, but they look like they're going to work great. Got the servo in here. It hasn't been connected to a radio yet and set up. So the next step I'm going to do, once I get the gear in place and stuff, will be to go ahead and figure out what radio I'm using. Futaba, I have a Futaba 10 channel that I use for almost everything. And want to make sure I'm using my top of the line receiver with that, and start getting this stuff set up and working. But it should, you know, it's gone together real well. I mean, engineering design on this kit is superb. Now, you know, by what I'm used to, and you guys that do this all the time, you know, you can tell me what the reality of it is. Maybe everybody makes kits this nice now, but this thing is just. I'm tickled pink for $1,000 what I got. I can tell you, even if I had all the stuff, I couldn't have built this thing with this kind of integrity and that kind of rigidity and you know, finish work is great. I mean, you can tell when you get really close to it that it's, you know, printed on a printer, but you know what? I've spent those hundreds, if not thousands of hours fiberglassing and painting and dropping on little, you know, balls of glue to simulate rivets, and that's all really wonderful and stuff, but I got one airplane I did like that a long time ago that's in marginally pieces, you know. So I don't, you know, this has a real appeal to me, you know, doing this way. I really value building model airplanes. It's for me very, you know, much an equal part of the joy to flying it. Now, some people don't feel that way. Some people like to fly model airplanes and don't give a hoot about building. But for me, the building process is as much fun as the flying. So, and this one's given me some of that kind of stuff. You know, it's you know, engineering this to work is going to be a blast. Working in the engine with the starter and then whatever kind of electrical support system we're going to need for that. I also have I've got a smoke system, which I'm still debating as to whether or not I want to put into the project or not. Yeah, I have a bomb drop mechanism that I had on the Giant Ugly Stick, which was a lot of fun. It always gets a you know, real response from the people that are watching when you drive by and drop it, and then a puff of smoke when it hits the ground or whatever. Also on an old P-40 project, an ARF like this I did 35 years ago or whatever, I did a motorized canopy where it opens, and that's always fun to do too. I don't know if I'm going to try to tackle that on this guy or not, but it'll all come together in the end. You guys stick with me. You can watch the process and, you know, give me some input. Help me out here. You know, I'm still learning, man. I'm 64 years old this year, and you never quit learning. You know, it's like with the big airplanes, it's a license to learn. So I hope you guys enjoy the process, and feel free to let me know what you think.
It's a dog day afternoon. It's a dog's life. You're in the dog house. Every dog has his day.